My name is Mindi Sturm, and I am one of the school nurses here in the district. I'm here today just to talk about our testing program that we've established here at USD 383. Kind of the goal and strategy of our testing is to keep your student in school. This testing strategy has come from collaboration with the KDHD and their guidelines, as well as our medical community that we meet with on a regular basis, and just all collaborating together to make the testing strategy. So today I just want to talk about a few of those things. We use 3 strategies for testing here in our district. The first one is called Test to Stay. If a student or staff member becomes symptomatic during the school day, our school nurses have the ability to test them. And if they are negative, they're welcome to stay at school, but it also identifies if they're positive, we can get them home as quickly as possible to stop the spread. The second strategy we have is called Test to Stay and Learn. This one is when students or staff have been put in quarantine for whatever reason. During that quarantine time, we're able to test them either at day 6 or day 16 of that quarantine based on the health department quarantine guidelines that have been set. We can test that student, and if they are negative on that certain day, then they are able to come back to school. Gets them in school quicker before that whole quarantine timeline is up. The third one is called Test to Play and Participate, and this is more related to athletics, and this one will be implemented based on our nursing availability and our testing supplies that we have. So a little bit about the tests we use. First of all, I want to talk about, there's kind of 4 tests that you will see or that you could be tested with just in our community in general. One is called a home test, and I know a lot of people have bought those at Walgreens and things like that. Our district does not use the home test as a basis to determine whether a person is positive or negative. If you do take a home test, the health department has asked that require that be followed up with a different type of testing, either with your school nurse or with the health department, to verify that that test is positive. The second type of test that you will see is called an antibody test. This just detects whether your body has built up antibodies to COVID, and sometimes you will have that after you have COVID and after you get your vaccination. The school district does not recognize this test as a confirmation that you have had COVID. Let me show you the 2 tests that our district will use. The first one is called a rapid antigen test. This test detects like live or non-live virus. It takes 15 minutes and just a real easy, gentle swab in the nose, which will demonstrate. The second test that we use is what is called a PCR test, and this actually detects COVID virus genetic material. So when you think about which one's more sensitive, your PCR test is going to be more sensitive. Your antigen test is going to be probably a little less sensitive. The thing that we as nurses like to communicate to you as parents is if you do an antigen test and you still have your child, or if you're a staff member and you still have symptoms and are not feeling good, we always recommend that you would follow up with a PCR test. So I want to just demonstrate what our tests look like. So the first test I'm going to start with is our antigen test. It's a 15-minute test. So when we have a student or staff that's with us that's not feeling good, this test can be done in the school setting. Like if my friend here, Cooper, was not feeling good, he would come to my nurse's office, I could test him there. And we can also do this testing if you are at home and not feeling good and you want to have a test, you can drive up in your car and we can test you right inside the car. But what you'll see is we both are wearing masks. A nurse will always have masks and gloves on. If the student or staff has a very runny nose, we would ask them to blow their nose. So we would have them remove their mask down and blow their nose, because sometimes if you have a lot of congestion coming out of there, we want to get that out of the nose first. And they would blow their nose and throw it in the trash can. So this is a nasal swab. It is not a pharyngeal nasal swab. So it's not going to go clear up here into the nose. It's just going, I'm going to show you with my mask real quick, just right inside the nose here. And you'll see I'll do that on Cooper. With our antigen test, we take this swab and we just do a quick little 5 times around on each side of the nose. I have lots of kindergartners at my school that have handled this great. So it's very simple and easy. So we'll just ask the student or staff to remove the nose, and we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once we get that nasal swab that we just demonstrated, this is what our rapid test looks like. And you'll notice that we always label it with the student's initials. And you can see there's a control line here. If a student was positive after we ran the test, we would see 2 lines here. That would be positive, and negative would just be the 1 line there. So how this works is we open up the test. It's very simple and easy. We add 6 drops of the special solution. And we take that swab that we had just swabbed our student with, and we place it inside here, and we give it a twist of 3 times. And then we remove it, and then we set our timer for 15 minutes. So you can see with our rapid antigen test, it took 15 minutes to do, and you can see that this student that we tested was negative. The control line is there, 1 line. If he were to be positive, you would see 2 lines here. Very simple, very easy to read. This will be our PCR test, which is the more sensitive test. And it is the same as before as our antigen test. It's just a Q-tip like this. Again, it's not up way in the nose, it's just right inside the nose. The only difference is that we do this 10 times on each side. So again, we would have Cooper blow his nose if he needed to, which he's already done. We just have the student or staff remove their mask. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then that is it. This is what is called our PCR test. Now this is the one that's a little bit more sensitive, that tests the genetic material of the COVID virus. So it has a little cartridge like this, and as always, we identify. So what happens is we will take this cartridge and we will place it inside our special PCR machine here that we have. And you will see. Once we do that, there's a tube of special solution that comes with our test kit. We then take the swab that we have used to swab our student or our staff member, and we swish it around in our solution. Once we do that, we have a little pipette that we pipette some of our special solution into this. Once we have the solution, I'm going to turn this just a little bit this way. We insert it into the cartridge, and the machine will work it through. There we go. Once the sample is loaded, you can see we close this, and then it will start timing for 30 minutes, and we'll have a result in 30 minutes. Okay, so this is our PCR test that we did after our nose swab, and you can see the machine will let you know when it's completed. And all you have to do is take this little cartridge out, and you can see that the student that we tested is negative. 1 line right here in the control means negative. If it was positive, you would see 2 lines there. If you do have any questions about our testing strategies, the tests we use, or if you would like your child to be tested, please don't hesitate to call your school nurse at your school.